So tell me a little bit about how Welcome got started. I'd love to hear the story about Welcome, and then also where is it going? Right? Like what's the vision, and certainly the statement, but like where do you see Welcome going?
Yeah.
Love to hear
Yeah.
that.
No, absolutely. So, quick story, and I know we don't have much time, but it's a great story, and I think we should talk about it. Every time I hear an entrepreneur or a company that has a great pivot story, I'm always like, hell yeah! Like they was facing adversity, they pivoted, and then boom, they took off. And then this year, at the end of the year, it hit me. It was like, holy crap! Like we just pivoted and we found an opportunity and we took off. And we don't realize how crazy that story was until you sit back and connect the dots, right? So for us, it was, we got into Y Combinator last year in the beginning of 2020. COVID didn't exist, or was starting to kind of pick up some steam. We were building a different kind of business. We were not building an events platform with quality and design. We were far from that. We were building a platform that connects restaurant owners to wholesalers. My uncles in Puerto Rico, actually, I'm in Puerto Rico now. My uncles in Puerto Rico run a wholesale distribution place, right? Like plátanos, manzanas, like all of that. They take it to all the restaurants. And when we were working on this back in the Bay in San Francisco, building this marketplace, we were getting some traction, doing all of that work in Y Combinator. And then COVID came around and shut the city down in March. And we're like, interesting. So I can't go knock on the corner store and say, hey, you should use our technology to order your goods. They're just trying to keep the business open, right? And so as COVID dismantled the restaurant space, it put a pause on our startup. And me and the guys regrouped. We went back to Denver. That's where we were staying at the time. And we decided to pivot. And in 2 weeks, we started building new code for Welcome. And the reason why we pivoted was we saw just a bigger opportunity, an opportunity that we said, look, if this thing is going to become what it ultimately became, it's going to shift the landscape. It's going to provide a ton of opportunity, and it's going to change the way we work and interact in the future. And that was a bet. And the entrepreneurship game, you're placing a bet. And that's the bet we placed. And we said, all right, quarantine, 3 months, we're going to go and build this platform the way that we would use it, with design at its core, quality at its core, experience at its core. Went down, heads down, talked to customers. We built it. We started selling it to customers, right? We put the product out the window and see if anybody would buy. And it was like snatch the entire time. And then we said, all right, game on, let's go fundraise, right? And so we raised funding, and I can deep dive into that. But really, at the core of Welcome is we're a virtual venue. And when you have a venue, you're inviting people in. And that's why we're called Welcome, right? And the idea that we create Welcome so that other people can welcome their people into their spaces is a big deal, right? It's a big deal. But beyond that, at the underlying current underneath Welcome, I think it goes back to my passion for accessibility and opportunity, right? Like we hosted, one of the early big events we hosted was an engineering conference, 7,000 engineers from all the best companies in the world hosted on Welcome. And I couldn't stop but think that, little Roberto, who was 15 years old in Philly, who can't afford a plane ticket, who doesn't have the connection, who can't afford a hotel room in fancy San Francisco, all he needs is an internet connection and an invitation. And boom, he's sitting next to somebody who thinks different, looks different, inspires differently. And that can become a pivotal change in that person's life. Right. And that's what's a core driver for me, is what Welcome can do for accessibility and opportunity. Right. And so that's a little bit the undercurrent there.